Hey guys, in the last video, I shared with you the Fibonacci retracements and how I use them in my day-to-day strategy. And I also shared with you a couple of examples of where I recently took some trades using the Fibs. In this video, I'm going to be talking about one specific indicator that I actually think is quite phenomenal. We'll talk about how overall to use it. We'll talk about the different implications of the settings. There's not that many settings, but I'll talk to you about the pros and cons of using a more lax setting versus a more rigid setting. And then we'll specifically talk about using it with trends. Whether you know it or not, you're a trend trader, right? Some of you might think of yourself as a scalper, maybe an intraday trader, position trader, but ultimately you're looking to catch a trend, whether it's up or down. This particular tool, I think it's appropriately named. It's called Trend Magic. So you go into your indicators tab and you literally type that in, Trend Magic, and it's by this particular developer right here. Let me just spell it correctly. Trend Magic. And it's by GLAZ. You want to plot that on your chart. Now, it's going to look a little bit funky. The way that the ATR works, it's very rigid, right? But it clearly shows you the distinction between an uptrend or a downtrend. So let's check that out. So I know it looks funky, but you can very clearly see from a psychological standpoint where the uptrend starts and where the downtrend starts. Is it going to be 100% smooth like a moving average is? No, of course it's not going to be. So you can use this in Confluence with your moving averages. You can color coordinate this whichever way you like. Just notice that depending on what your settings are, you can identify trends, and it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear where they start and where they end. So let's say you take a really, really good entry, right? Just a really, really good entry. And I'm nitpicking here. I'm nitpicking with where the entry is because this is a very significant example. I take this entry and then all of a sudden I want to ride it, right? Depending on if you have a shelf or if it just turns red, maybe you want to get out of the position. But this will very clearly tell you, okay, now we're starting an uptrend or not. You're going to find a lot of situations where you have shelving. It's just part of the nature of the ATR. It works off of bands. There's a band calculation behind this. So that band, depending on what the multiplier is, the smaller the multiplier, the more it hugs the price action. The larger the multiplier, the less it hugs price action. So this works like this. So as soon as we start breaking below the band, then it tells you, or it flips direction. The same thing here with the upper band, right? A lot of indicators work exactly like this. So the ATR relationship is actually quite good, okay? It's actually quite good. So let's go into the settings and you'll see exactly what I mean. So my settings right now, my ATR multiplier is quite low. So this automatically introduces noise into the system. We want to be careful with this. So my ATR multiplier, if I go up to 2, just notice how the bands move. You're going to have more shelving overall, but how do you filter this out? You probably want to look at the larger time frames. Remember, I am a huge proponent of trading anything above the 10-minute time frame, including the 10-minute. If you go into the lower time frame, you're going to see a lot of jaggedness. You're going to see a lot of up and down, and you're not going to get a lot of clarity, okay? The clarity comes from filtering out with the higher time frames, right? I'm always going to say that. The more significant trends overall happen on the higher time frame. So just notice how the 15-minute time frame is significantly cleaner. If you're using this with Confluence on maybe some other indicators that you use, that's perfectly fine. If you want to throw on whatever stack EMA that you use this also for you to know, all right, we're still in an uptrend or still in a downtrend that will add to the psychological state on, are we green or are we red? You can change the colors as well. That's perfectly fine. It's up to you. I just happen to think that this is a magnificent tool. Is it the best tool out there? I think it's pretty good. Okay, I think it's pretty good. So there's not a lot of explanation that needs to be done. It's quite simple. If you want to be a little bit more relaxed, where you can sacrifice some of the entries so you can get potentially more filtration, then what I'm going to recommend is you go into the settings and you go to maybe a 3 multiplier. You guys can play around with this. I personally like the 1 multiplier because I'm using other factors to decide whether I hold on to a position or not. Cool. So this is a wonderful, fantastic, I mean, it's not a traditional tool by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also not 100% new. It's been around for a while. So check out this tool. Tell me if you guys have found it useful and if it has improved your trading on deciding where entries are and if it's helping you stay within trends, just like the name suggests, right? Trend Magic. Let me know in the comment section if this is something worthwhile for you, and let's continue working on some additional indicators that will help us identify entries and also stay in trends just like this one.